The pickup truck market is already quite crowded, and we've reviewed tons of them. And I'm sure that your favorite pickup truck is one of the links that we have found down below. Yet it still begs the question, is there room for more? Now, granted, the mid-size pickup truck is already huge. I mean, look at this. I look like Frodo standing next to Gandalf. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the 2024 GWM Cannon SLux 4x4. And on this episode, we want to find out if this truly does fit in with the rest of the competition and if it deserves a shot. You're liking this angle way too much, Jack. I look like a joke next to this thing. You know what isn't a joke? Wow, segue. Is our AutoDeal app, where it can connect you to some of our elite sales agents nationwide and get you that much closer to your next new car. But first, back to the Cannon, which you can also find on our AutoDeal app, and it will tell you that the car is available for the top of the line trim, mind you, at 1,498,000 Philippine pesos. For the top of the line trim. Redonkulous. But stick around till the end of this video because, well, there's gotta be a catch, right? Let's start with the exterior. I mean, look at this. I'm standing on grass, I've got a few inches high up on me, and I still look like a hobbit next to this thing. It's huge. In terms of against other trucks inside the same segment, it's up by a good margin when you're talking about length, width, and height. In terms of fitting in with the rest of the market, GWM must have had a massive shoehorn to fit this in the lineup because it's quite imposing. You also get 232 millimeters of ground clearance thanks to a rather tall suspension height and 18-inch wheels wrapped in 60 series tires. It's the longest in its class, one of the widest ones as well, and it's also up there with the tallest. And that also shows with regards to its bed because it is a perfect square. It's 1,520 millimeters from here to here and also from here to here. The bed height is 520 millimeters with a total capacity of 1,247 liters. In fact, this is giving me an idea. Oh, Earl.
Wait, stop.
What's the problem?
What's the problem? You remember the last time you golfed off a pickup truck?
Too much? Anyway, there's more to the bed than just its size. It may not be as big as the F-150, but because of its squareness, there's more than enough room for me to pose.
Stop!
What? Wow, temper. Hey Jack, look, it's the same ball. No, look, I just want to show that I can actually clear my swing back here without hitting anything. Look at that. Oh! By the way, if you actually want to see me attempt to hit golf balls, the links are somewhere down below during an interview with AC Motors president Toti Zara. It was a fun day.
Holy.
Happy! And then one last feature is the fact that this car, or pickup truck, has a damper right here so that you can easily do that. Not a lot of even more expensive pickup trucks have that feature. Apart from the large bed, it also has a maximum payload capacity of 1,050 kilograms, which makes it one of the class leaders in its category. Now, while the bed capacity and size may be the car's hole-in-one, so to speak, sorry again, Jack, it does have a bit of a bogey in terms of what is found underneath. If I can find the clip. Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, so what you're looking at is a 4-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine that produces 161 horses and 400 Newton meters of torque, which is basically mid-spec when you're talking about other cars in the same category, other pickup trucks in the same category. It is also mated to a ZF 8-speed automatic transmission. Now, we were expecting better fuel economy because of the 8-speed ZF automatic transmission. But in the city, we were only doing about 8.5 kilometers per liter and 12.5 kilometers per liter on the highway. Much more was expected of this car. However, we figure it's that way because this car's 4x4 system, or rather all-wheel drive system, is always on. So you're looking at a car that has an all-wheel drive system with 4x4 parts. You get me? And that will obviously take its toll on fuel efficiency, but better grip on the road. And there's also the fact that this thing still weighs over 2 tons. But at least you will be able to sit in a cabin with a lot of space. The amount of space in here is, well, truthfully reminiscent of even the size of an F-150. Look at the amount of leg room that I have. That's my normal driving position. And the headroom is actually pretty decent. Space is very good. Materials I like as well. And if you get bored back here, there is also some refreshments for those backseat passengers. Hey, Errol, what happens when you pull the pin? That's a bit dramatic, isn't it? Anyway, toys back here include 2 air vents, a 220 volt socket, a USB charging point, ball holders on either side, and a center armrest. No cup holders here. Now, while that's all well and good, there is one thing that I'm not too sure about. The seats are great, like I mentioned, and I love the fact that it's quilted and then it's got the lining too on the side. It's just that it relies on gravity to stay down. While other seats are locked into place, here you can lift the seat anytime for more space. But then there's nothing that's sort of like, oh, well, there's something that locks it in place and you can't. How come there's something, ow, that locks it up but doesn't lock it down? See, it comes up. Now you might not think that's very or a big deal, but can you imagine bouncing around in this car? Whoa! Ow. A callback to the advantage of having a 220 volt socket inside your car is that you can use it to charge your laptop, which you can open and log on to our YouTube channel so that you can subscribe.
Why are you holding the laptop like that?
I don't know, I'm so old I got used to magazines. Hey, you know, this thing's cool. It's not like your magazines, Jack. There's no stickiness.
What?
Ew.
What?
Ew. Jack is a naughty boy. Jack is a naughty boy. The first thing you'll notice when you get inside the Cannon is, well, it's true to its name, Cannon, large. So is the steering wheel. It's kind of hard to impart it, but it is actually quite big, to a point where the paddle shifters are a bit harder to get to. They're a bit in, or they could have been a little bit bigger, but nonetheless, the steering wheel is actually quite large. Now, inside the automobile, you could use the word Spartan, but really, it's more clean to me. It doesn't exactly scream luxury liner, but it speaks more of like a workhorse, but a clean looking workhorse, and it's actually working for me. There are soft touches here up on top and somewhere down the middle, and there are still some hard plastics here. But I like how they have kept the piano blacks down to a minimum. Instead of piano blacks, they have somewhat of a faux carbon fiber print going on, and it's not the best of things, but it's a heck of a lot better than carbon than the piano black. And then the buttons are good to the touch and no piano blacks there either, whether you're talking about the air controls found here in the center and the audio control, or even on the gear shifter. Well, actually no, I was wrong. There is piano black on the gear shifter, but I guess I could forgive that. In the center, you have a 9-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You've got charging points found down here with a 12-volt socket, wireless charging point, 2 bottle holders in the center, more cubby space here in the middle. These are big, which can hold these bottles, no problem. But if you're talking about Jack's bottle, when did this become Jack's bottle? Oh, okay, there you go. When you're talking about Jack's bottle, yeah, that's not going anywhere. And unfortunately, unlike other cars, it's not going to fit anywhere else except the door. Oh no! It doesn't even fit in the door. Ang laki kasi ni Jack. The instrument cluster found in the center is an all-digital affair, but it's actually quite easy to read and understand. It's controlled by the buttons on your steering wheel, along with your cruise and your audio functions that are found here. You know, regardless of how often will say that the car might be a bit Spartan, it does have a lot of tech features inside. Like the cruise is not just cruise, it's adaptive cruise. It's got lane keep assist. It's got drive modes found here. This may not be a commander knob, but you've got drive modes there. You've got an electronic parking brake. I already mentioned the wireless charging point. It's got really all the bells and whistles that other top-end models do have, and sometimes it's got one or two more bits that those models don't have. It's even got power seats, not just for the driver, but for the passenger as well. Then it also has a 360 camera. It's got a rear differential lock, and it's got a button specifically for your electronic steering, which means you can make it as hard as, let's say, for example, my Mitsubishi Montero, or as soft as a Ford at the touch of a button, which I'd like to show you right now by going on a drive. But before we do, wait, we already did that. We create these videos just for you. Hey, I'm actually ahead of myself. Who the hell are you? This truck, for 1.5 million Philippine pesos, really has a lot of technology in it. And I'm saying that because on paper, it sounds like a really good deal. But out on the road, well, it's kind of like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Let's talk about the engine. Again, it's 161 horses and 400 Newton meters of torque. And on paper, it sounds fine. But it can be a little small, especially for where it's sitting. Well, from where I'm sitting, actually. It has relatively decent acceleration, but that's really all that I can say about the car, whether it's loaded or unloaded, because it just gets the job done. That's the only true description and accolade that I can give the car. It does reach 100 kilometers per hour eventually, even with a diesel engine. It does take some time because, well, let's just all try to remember that this thing weighs over 2,000 kilos. The other thing is that, well, it's not very shapely. I'm not saying that it looks like a Borg ship. No, not at all. But because of its boxy shape, that means that the wind is going to start hitting it in ways that you don't really want. So in a phrase, NVH, not so good. You can dial in the drive mode to suit your style by changing it from eco to sport or to slippery, and then you can change the stiffness of the steering, obviously, like we showed you earlier. But if you put it on normal mode, there is a bit of the lag when you step on the accelerator and to exactly when the gear engages, especially when you're on an incline. And it's not confidence killing, but it's also not very confidence inspiring. Like, for example, we're stopped now, somewhat of an incline. I am in normal mode and I'm going to release and step. See, there was a bit of a lag there. And then, not just the lag, but the turbo, or rather the torque, kicks in and it's sort of like a pull immediately. It's not a smooth push up the hill, so to speak. But I will say that thanks to the 8-speed ZF transmission, when you're on flatter surfaces, the transitions of the gears are actually pretty quick and smooth. The suspension of the Cannon is leaf springs, much like everybody else, save maybe, of course, the Navara. And so when you get into a car and you realize that it does have leaf springs, you're expecting what the other big boys give you, which is, it's somewhat of a bumpy ride, but it's, you can contend with it. In this particular instance, I don't know if it's because, again, we've been spoiled with more lifestyle vehicles, but it is a bit bouncy. Bouncy to an extent that I think that it may be one of the rougher rides out there. There is a trade-off though. I'm thinking that it's a good trade-off because as a workhorse, you want it to feel robust and, well, carry as much weight as possible at the rear, which it can. Thanks to its stiffer suspension, it does carry 1,050 kilograms at back. To be honest with you, one of the weakest points really of this car is just how bouncy it is. Not the way that it drives, just really how bouncy it is. Because even sitting here at the driver, I sometimes feel like I'm in the rear. That's where I believe that I would be sitting because it's just really that bouncy and you just want the job to be done and over with. Then it dawns on you that Yeah, it's a workhorse. You just want to get the job done, right? But at the same time, it's got the creature comforts of more expensive cars inside there. So you're confused. Do you want to step out of the vehicle or not? For the meanwhile, when you're on softer roads, then yeah, you're sound as a yen. But when it starts to get a little hairy, oh boy. But let's take a step back and try to remember how much this car costs with all of this. If you do find yourself off the beaten path, whether you're going to, I don't know, the farm, the beach, or just going out for the weekend, and you actually want to do some work done, this offers a no clutter, no dial 4x4 system because it's essentially got an all-wheel drive brain. That's a little confusing, I know, but allow me to explain. If you decide to take it, like I said, off the beaten path, all you have to really do is just drive. The 4x4 system really takes care of itself because it's actually well sorted out for any and all shenanigans that you might want to get into. Yes, it does have, I'm not even looking at the road, it does have a 4-low and it does have a rear differential lock, but really, you can just simply stay on the accelerator and just go. How you doing there, Jack? I will say that the 4x4 system in here is not as robust as other trucks, mainly because it's just so simple. But instead of complicating your life with so many buttons and what you're not, here it's just so simple. It's a drive and go and forget about it. Is it as robust as, let's say, the other pickup trucks out there? I don't know, but I know that in a pinch, you can easily count on it. Can it be a true-to-life hardcore off-roader? That I'm not so sure about. So obviously, this pickup struggles a lot when it comes to ride comfort. See, what that could be a deal breaker for some people, I do believe that this could be a win for this truck. For trucks, too soft and you run the risk of bottoming out. So with a jacked up rear, it'll allow your suspension to be in an optimal position while carrying heavy loads. But it is something that's not too great for your rear passengers if passengers are all you have. Loaded up, this thing felt a lot smoother out on the road. So it's definitely going to do a better job when it's doing its job loaded up. You get me? Truth be told, the drive and ride of this truck aren't excessively enjoyable. When sat here, I really feel like I'm not engaged on to go fast. It feels like I just want to get the job done. But the fact is that this truck is geared towards work with features from the high-end lifestyle trucks out in the market today, and it's rather unique. And I think that really is what sets the Cannon apart from the rest of the competition. At just under 1.5 million Philippine pesos, again with the camera angles, Jack, dude, you get work with me, not against me. You get yourself a very well-equipped workhorse. That's exactly what the Cannon is. Now, it doesn't have the same glamour or poshness or fluff as the lifestyle pickup trucks that we have been spoiled with, and I say spoiled, I really do love them, but it gets the job done. If you were to back away from the microscope and look at the truck as a whole, then I do believe that the 2024 GWM Cannon is worth a shot because it's a pickup truck that you don't necessarily have to work for, but rather work with. Get it?